This is very exciting. We've got a big reveal coming up here. Mike Ryan's handsome father, who never seems to age, just statuesque from a different time, smelling of cologne and sensuality, walks into a room, just steams it up. Let's unveil for America right now the beauty and the heroism of Mike Ryan's dad, whose texts he doesn't want to answer. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. The elevator. Mike Ryan's
what time is it?
Beautiful dad is here. Now everyone can see what Mike Ryan is going to look like in the future if this job doesn't chew him up and fart him out. He can look like Mike's beautiful dad.
He'd be lucky to look like that in the future.
Oh, my God.
I haven't seen him in 5 years, and somehow he's gotten younger.
True.
Yeah.
A Lothario, radiant, just beautiful.
Smells fantastic as
well. Reeks of sunshine and rainbows.
That hair is suspiciously dark.
Oh, all right. Well, let's turn the microphone on so that Mike Ryan may quiz his father on suspiciously dark hair, the Mike Ryan insider information train that he owns like no other.
Dad, do you dye your hair?
Only my hairdresser knows for sure.
Wow. Oh, a coy
Petty
response.
play. Yeah.
A coy response.
He doesn't have a barber. He has a hairdresser.
I mean, he's beautiful. Tony's threatened right now. Young Tony is threatened. Is it not true, Tony? That
one day I'll look like this. He's got the Rolex going. He's got the slick back hair. I mean, this is my future.
Chris, it's weird. Look at how your dad has aged.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my dad. What's your secret?
My dad's older.
What?
No way.
Yeah, he's
No,
older than
that
Greg.
can't be true.
Yeah. How old is Greg?
67?
That checks out.
Dad, how old are you?
Don't reveal his age.
Oh my God! Can I take the fifth on that
He's
one?
beautiful.
My dad is so funny. When he's in the dating scene. He's pretty much been in the dating scene my entire life, and
Hell yeah.
he's there was one day a couple of weeks ago where he was, yeah, it's my birthday. I don't think my date's going to be doing anything for it. I'm kind of bummed about that. And I'm like, well, does she know it's your birthday? He's like, no, because then I have to tell her what my age is.
I want to make you our golden bachelor. If Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith can set up their
I got him a
things.
present anyways.
If Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp can set up their things as personal dating sites, I want to do a personal golden bachelor where we sell off your dating because everybody who listens to us wants to be with you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Keep the votes coming.
Yep.
All right, he's in. Mike Ryan.
What are we voting
There
on?
we are, Mike. We've got to figure out how to do it. I put you in charge of that. It could be your next Meadowlark project when you leave the
Find
executive
my
producer
stepmother?
role. It's a great show.
You're sitting next to her.
Find my
It's a
stepmom.
great show. Find My Stepmother, hosted by you, repairing all the relationship with your father that has what?
Why is Jess campaigning to be on the show?
Because it's a great show.
She's doing it for the bit, just to lord over me.
I don't know what you mean.
It's a
He's
great
a very
show.
handsome man.
Wow.
Okay, all right. Enough with the
Enough
discomforts
with
of
that.
this.
I've had enough compliments
All
for
right,
today.
get out of here. Go sit in the penalty
You're
box.
acting like you didn't know this.
All right, take him out of here.
The penalty box.
Get him out. No, okay, the penalty box.
Nailed it.
Can I sit with him?
Go ahead. Go sit with him.
Wow.
You go sit with him.
he smells so
Yeah,
good.
he does smell good.
Mike, we'll let you come on vacation with us. It's all right.
He can hold you in the penalty box.
Again?
I've been wanting to do this for years. Thank you. Your relationship with your father is a funny one. Stugotz was begging me to ask him about the college football playoff, but I think we've talked about that enough.
He's been following college this year. He loves McAfee. He really does. He's so charismatic.
Do you want to go to him? Do you want to go to him?
don't.
I want to. How do you feel about
Therapy
this
couch?
Golden Bachelor? Oh, that's good.
No, it might.
His
no.
dad on
Dan.
the. Are you kidding me? On the therapy couch, talking about Mike, how he doesn't know how to share. He doesn't share. What? What are you staring at me for?
Let's just get the psych gag over with and get him in the penalty box.
Why'd you bring him in here? I'm surprised.
He had his day off and he asked. I've never really brought mine. Yeah, I said yes. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Proud of what it is that we've done here, and it's a lot cooler place than the Clevelander. I love it here at the Elser. I wanted him to scope the spot.
And if he stays with me longer, he'll never have to work again a day in his life.
Chris Cote,
What's up?
have you gotten all?
Too. There, I said it.
This time you did say it.
Everyone wants a piece. Stugotz is what is it? Wow,
Put it
they're
on the
sharing
poll.
a nice moment.
Who does Chris Cote want to bleep more? There, I said it. Dolly Parton or Mike's dad?
Close.
At Le Batard Show. He is beautiful, Mike. There's no, I mean, he's a
He is
silver
a very
fox.
good-looking man. I'm
He's
proud
not-
of him.
He's a silver fox.
Great at improv too.
He's been a lot
That's
funnier.
just
Him
him.
trying to take
No,
the
that's
elevator
just
down.
him.
I didn't think he had it in him.
But Mike, the thing, your father embarrasses you because he's a little cheesy, right?
No, that's not why he embarrasses me. But he's doing great today. He's doing fantastic. It's awesome. Let's get
Other than calling me Greg.
Yeah.
But did you get off Chris? That's honestly. So you descend from your father. Your father's the biggest Dolphins
Personal
homer.
question.
I can confirm that I descend from my father.
No, I'm talking to Chris Cote that he more literally symbolically descends from his father's a homer and he is his father's son. And today is the best day in Dolphin history for the Cote family in the last 25 years of sharing Dolphin sports as a family, not just with his dad, with his mom too. Today is the best the Dolphins have felt since when?
What are we doing with today as opposed to like
They're at the top of the conference.
yeah,
They are the
so
number.
the Jags win tonight.
No, but it's okay. But
I'm just saying, I'm not, Dan, I'm seeing a lot of good mobile quarterbacks, and I'm not going to lie, the last few weeks, my confidence in the Dolphins has actually gone down a little. Wow. And that's because I'm not looking at the wins that they're getting. I'm looking at other teams and other quarterbacks when plays break down outside of the pocket, and I just see Tua, and he needs everything to be perfect. And I don't know. That's why, I've actually been going the other way the last few weeks with
they
the Dolphins.
scored 45. Like, what more do you want them to do yesterday?
I just fear that because I think we've gotten to the point where we're better than all these bad teams. We're gonna be in the playoffs. So now the conversation becomes, how are we gonna do in the playoffs?
The conversation becomes, if Baltimore comes here in Kansas City, are they going to slow your offense because they're one of the good teams? You want to get the bye so you're healthy. And then you want to get 2 games against a team you don't fear. Why are you fearful today after winning 45 to 15?
I'm fearful because I see a lot of quarterbacks that when they get out of the pocket, that Josh Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, I see these guys out of the pocket, and I'm like, they're more dangerous there. And when Tua gets out of the pocket, I'm scared. So I just think the Dolphins have to have everything go perfectly for them and the way they've played so far this year.
Defensively, too. You really haven't had a mobile quarterback that hasn't done a good job against the Dolphins, right? Josh Allen, W. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, W. Mahomes used his legs a lot in that game to beat the Dolphins. Now you're going to play Dak Prescott, who can run. Now you can play Lamar Jackson, who's going to run the next couple of games. This is a big test for them.
So, Dan, I'm actually saying the opposite of what you're saying. I think I'm over that honeymoon phase with this team like we were early in the season, and now I'm in the mode of, can we actually win some games in the playoffs? I'm not saying the answer is no. I'm just saying I'm a little nervous when I see these mobile quarterbacks.
Do you think I have this wrong when I simply say to you, because you're through all of these injuries that you have to sustain, I mean, the idea that, again, why did you bring him in here with you?
He smells so good.
Okay, so
And he cares about me in a way that you don't. I mean, he's rubbing my hair. He's
Ripping the
giving me a
hips there.
massage.
Hey,
he's
easy
so
over there.
great. I mean,
yeah, it's
love you.
it's weird. All of it is a little weird. But the thing that we haven't been able to say, Chris Cote, about this Dolphin team, you're actually showing very reasonable perspective at what could be a hysterical time. All of these people get injured. Through those injuries, the Dolphins have beaten those teams on their schedule to have the position that the Patriots have had that was the greatest advantage they have. You win this division, you get a bye, then you play against 2 teams with quick throws who are top, one of whom has played the previous week. You've seen look how Detroit came out yesterday. Health matters in that sport. When they sit out a week and they're stronger, they're physically in a what?
What do you mean, what? I was just watching you at work. I mean, you're killing it right now.
You got me
You're
back,
crushing it.
by the way.
Yeah.
Now I'm confident again.
Yeah.
You just did it.
No,
Health, I
no,
mean,
but
yeah.
I'm not trying to actually talk. Your perspective is the right one to say, I saw San Francisco and Philadelphia, and I saw how those teams can beat the Dolphins. You hold them to 17 points. Tyreek doesn't look like that because all of a sudden you're in 3rd and long all the time, and they don't have any confusion about whether you're running or passing. And then the offense slows a little bit, and Philadelphia grinds you to dust because you saw Philadelphia and San Francisco, but they're going to beat the shit out of each other literally over in that conference. You only have to beat one of them. And that's what the Patriots did a lot from the top of this division and the top of this conference. I haven't been able to say for 25 years that this is where this Dolphin team has been. If you're not excited in December, you're viewing this wrong.
Oh, I'm excited, but I'm just a little apprehensive because I see a lot of good teams around.
Mike, you seem upset. It's okay, son. It's going to be okay.
What's the matter?
Mike,
Lower.
what do I do with your dad and the fact that Stugotz brought him back in here, and I don't know what to do with him as
You want to sit on his other knee?
Would we like one day for Stugotz has been complaining about being tired. Should his dad sit in the seat for a segment to replace
please.
Stugotz so that Stugotz can take a break because he's worked. God bless football came out very early this morning.
Yeah, it did. What are your thoughts on the college football playoff, Mr. Ryan?
Gosh, how come Georgia is not in a bowl game?
It's a fair question to ask. It is.
Didn't think he was going to pull that one out.
Football.
I got so lucky there.
I like this as a ventriloquist and a puppet. See if the takes can come out here from something more beautiful than
That's
the
where his
ragged
hand
thing
is.
over here.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, they lost in week 2 and benched their quarterback. They were tied at halftime with USF. Barely beat a dreadful Arkansas team. Needed a miracle to beat an Auburn team that lost to New Mexico State by double digits. But Dan, on the biggest stage, with the brightest lights, against a team riding a 29-game winning streak, that's when this team plays its best. And Saturday was no different, as they beat Georgia 27-24. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, Alabama is back.
I hated myself yesterday because on a Sunday, I was actually thinking, who's going to be he's back? And I thought for sure it would be Joe Flacco.
It was close. He was in second place.
I thought for sure.
It was close, Dan.
For sure, Joe Flacco. He needed to win.
He did, yes.
He would have been.
He played well. I mean, listen, with him, the Jets would be 10-2, but Joe Flacco needed to win. It came down to him winning. He lost. He's not back.
I hated myself when I'm like,
You should.
Which-
It's a sad way to spend a Sunday.
which of well, Sundays are disgusting. Let's be honest. They're wonderful, but at the end of them, I feel bad about who I am.
Tony's saying back here that he looked good yesterday, Flacco. I don't believe that.
Flacco looked good yesterday.
He
I
did.
don't believe
He
it.
looked good.
Thank
Did.
you.
I watched every second of
He
it.
always does.
Yeah.
He's a
throw a
statue with a
pick?
big arm.
The air hasn't moved.
What'd you watch, Mike?
That was more spot. Moore's got to be better there. I mean, if it comes down to a debate, who screwed up, Flacco or Moore? It's Moore.
Right.
Flacco played a game that surprised me. That he can get off a plane, show up in Cleveland, and do that.
Threw 44 times.
I have to admit, he throws a pretty ball.
He really
Always,
does.
even the interception is like, God, I
Deep ball's
love
still
it.
there, by
It
the
does-
way.
Well, but it was stupid.
It will never leave him.
Regardless.
It was
Again,
ridiculous.
Moore's fault. Moore's fault.
But Alabama's back. Roll Tide. This is all Auburn's fault.
It really
Dan,
is.
It is. You know what the A in Auburn stands for?
All their fault.
Wow.
Yeah, it
On
is
your
all their
game.
fault. It was
On your game.
It was 4th and goal.
Yeah.
You had them beat. We wouldn't have to be discussing any of this.
If it all plays out the same, except Alabama loses to Auburn, is FSU in today? Huh?
I don't know. Maybe
Not so
we talk
sure.
ourselves into Georgia. At that
For
point, I
sure.
think we start talking
For
ourselves
sure.
into Georgia.
SEC team.
Or Ohio State gets crept back into the conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Florida State. I never said do it against LSU. I said do it against Alabama.
Yeah, you did.
Texas did, and look what happened.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alabama still got in, even though it got done to them.
How does Stugotz win in this scenario too, where Alabama's in, but we're all like, this is asinine.
One team no one was arguing about? Texas.
Yeah.
Did it against Bama.
By 2 touchdowns at Alabama. All of us acknowledge, okay, that's the best win of the
Maybe,
season.
look where Jalen Milroe is now. Texas made Alabama bench him. with their performance in Tuscaloosa.
And we thought they didn't have a quarterback. They were going into South Florida with rain, and we're like, I think South Florida can cover 6.5.
Paul Feinbaum told me and Billy a great story that the reason they benched Milroe in that game was Tommy Rees was convinced the other quarterback was better. So Saban put the other quarterback in just so Tommy Rees could see how bad he was. I mean,
That's ridiculous.
That's not checkers.
That's not true.
Paul Feinbaum?
Bullshit story. Total bullshit.
Sounds good, though.
That Saban is so smart, he put in the bad quarterback. It's not that Saban didn't know which one was the bad
USF, I
quarterback,
think.
because they were both bad, and he's used to having all the best athletes.
He showed Tommy Rees, though.
You showed Paul Feinbaum.
Tommy was in his bag Saturday. I'm sorry.
Watching Greg McElroy. Am I saying that right?
You always get that wrong.
It's a tough name for me.
Yeah, you add an extra L.
No, he's dyslexic. He puts the L before the E.
Well, thank you. Tell me a team can't overcome subpar quarterback play to win a national championship. The G in Greg stands for go look in a mirror. What is he talking about? Dan, you heard it here first. Something was most definitely off in Athens. In other things you heard here first, the Orlando Magic. I told you to watch out. Team's good. I'm not sure I understand the in-season tournament, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. The T in Tyler Van Dyke stands for transfer portal. Lou Piniella falls just one ballot short of the Hall of Fame. Sweet Lou. I only put it in there to say Sweet Lou. I did.
We didn't talk about Jim Leland getting in and his wife and him talking about it
my
and
God.
taking. What happened?
I got to text him and, tell him congratulations. He made it to the hall. He's my friend.
He did. He
Want
has.
him on, or?
I would like to talk to him. The picture of him taking the call was in some sort of strange, unfurnished Airbnb. That it can't be his home. The photograph cannot be the home of Jim Leland, who only loves baseball and the racetrack and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
The G in Grady Dick stands for G League. When you're turning the Bailey Zappi, you've already lost. LeBron James would skip a Lakers game to watch Bronny's college debut. Very nice.
How did we not talk about Ime Udoka getting ejected for just talking trash to LeBron? You can't talk trash as a coach. What did he say?
I don't know.
There's not an internet lip reader that can tell us what was said there?
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there. It was actually pretty tame. He's like, worry about yourself. You're soft, boy, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he called him the B
Yeah.
word several times.
He was using
but
the B word, and
I don't
LeBron
know
was
for
on the
sure.
court being like, don't talk like that.
I'm not a lip reader.
he
so.
used the B word earlier on, but like their interaction that actually got Udoka tossed, that was pretty tame. They just didn't stop.
Back to LeBron, one of the many reasons he'll never be Michael Jordan. Who does that?
Does what?
Not MJ.
Does what?
Skip your own job to go see your son's college debut, and Jordan would never.
Be a good parent?
No, not Michael.
No time for good parents.
Only time for rings. Dave.
Winning.
Stu would never skip something to see one of his kids play a
No, not
sporting
me.
event.
Now you've gone too far. The Detroit Pistons becoming the first team in 8 years to go winless for a full month. 0-15. The D in Detroit stands for didn't win a game all month. That's impossible.
It's pretty amazing.
Utah State quarterback Levi Williams will skip his senior season to apply for Navy SEAL training. The L in Levi stands for let's all stop and thank him for his service.
Thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm. TYFYS. The James Harden experiment isn't working out in Los Angeles. Who could have seen that coming?
Getting emotional?
I am. I'm crying. I'm crying because teams keep making the same mistake with this guy. He's a bum. He doesn't want to play anymore. He just wants your money. All right? And they keep making the same mistake. I feel bad for the Clippers. What?
You couldn't even get that out.
I don't. Penn State making a 12-team playoff is all the proof we need that we don't need a 12-team playoff.
It's a fair take.
Thank you. You know where the 49ers took the Eagles, Dan?
To the woodshed?
Wow, you are good. You are on your game today. I mean, seriously.
I mean, they did.
Yeah.
When does that expression come from? Was it like somebody was spanked out in the woodshed in the Wild Wild West? Like, why are we taking someone out to the woodshed? What is what is happening there? What are the origins of that story?
Child abuse.
All right, great.
North Carolina comes back against Florida State behind a 22-0 run. You want to know why, Dan?
Child abuse?
Because basketball is a game of runs. Speaking of runs, The Dallas Mavericks with the rare 30-0 run in a game that they lost.
I mean, I knew that, but go ahead and read the definition.
Yep,
Chris
it
Cote.
says this phrase came from the custom of a father taking his offspring to the woodshed to whip him.
Back in the old days, I was okay.
30-0 run, they lost.
I know.
30-0. John Shire, good recruiter, bad coach. Kentucky unveiled a new court in Rupp Arena and proceeded to lose to UNC Wilmington.
That was weird.
The Seahawks, they should go back to the old court. Also, watch out for UNC Wilmington in March.
Oh, why's that?
Tough out.
Why?
Senior guard play.
Why else?
Good defense. Tenacious D. Senior guard play.
What else?
The building blocks to a team that's going to be a tough out in March.
What else?
That's
okay.
all I got.
Okay, no, that's plenty.
Yeah, it's not March there.
Okay,
We're getting there.
you'll be informed then.
Yeah. Well, no.
No, then but you'll have those. You'll have guard.
I'll be more prepared for it next time.
Experienced guard play. You know,
Yes.
watch out
Tenacious
for
D.
out
can
of
hit the three.
blankety blank
Senior
conference.
leadership. Yeah. If Kentucky did that to Miami, think about what UNC Wilmington would do to them. Huh? Iowa could have played that game for another 10 quarters and still wouldn't have scored.
Stugotz, I bet Iowa under 6.5 points for the game.
I bet him under a half point in the first half.
Just so comfortable.
I bought it up a half.
So comfortable. Like it's
covered both
what an
halves.
amazing. Again,
I teased their team total by 6 points and still somehow lost.
you can't believe in Iowa. The idea, do you know, I've never even seen a team total of 6.5. To go under there when all I love is overs. I love overs because I don't have to, I got a shot at overtime. I got bonus time. To go under 6.5 on like a defensive touchdown and to sail all game, no problem. That's crazy to have that sure a bet. It's free money.
Yep. Vegas made Alabama an underdog. Cute. Oregon, Washington, what a game. Let's do it again next year in the Big Ten Championship. College football, man.
That's funny, right?
It's weird, man. Kirby Smart, blah, blah, blah. Georgia's defense, blah, blah, blah.
Come on.
Oregon, blah, blah, blah. Dan Lanning, blah, blah, blah. Bo Nix, blah, blah, blah.
Come on.
Dan, you know what the N in Nick stands for? Not the NFL. You know what the B in Bo stands for? Better start thinking about getting a job.
What?
I mean, he's been there for 8 years. He's not going to
He
the
hasn't
NFL.
been there
His
for 8 years.
job
He's been
will
in
be
college.
playing in the NFL.
No, it won't be.
I've got him as a coordinator in college in like 5 years.
Exactly.
You got him being Josh Heupel?
It's projected first round.
No.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Come
Not anymore.
on.
I mean,
Bo Nix, 7 years he played, 17 years he played.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that old.
And
He's no Sam Hartman.
Bo Nix, we learned who Bo Nix was altogether as a nation for beating Alabama back in Acquainter time when Alabama wasn't a lovable underdog.
Dan, you know what the O in Oregon stands for?
I do not.
Outback Bowl. Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Playing
Should
Liberty.
have changed that one. Is there still an Outback Bowl?
No.
I'm not certain
They're
there
in the
is.
Fiesta.
No, not anymore.
Okay,
I
so
think
it doesn't-
I think
Bloomin'
it's gonna
onion.
lie a
Bloomin'
Crystal
onion.
You were
now.
so proud of that. Listen to him.
There's no Cheez-It Bowl either.
Will you listen to him? He's now running away from having done no research, doesn't know that there's not a bowl anymore. He just spits at me over his shoulder, blooming onion.
That's so good. Sauce.
They are good. They are delicious, indisputably.
If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably not going to the college football playoff. Tim Howard was elected to the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. There's a U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. If there is, they shouldn't allow any men into it. The only thing that should be in the men's part of the Soccer Hall of Fame is Christian Pulisic's penis.
Because the goal. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
No Landon Donovan.
No. Brock Glenn, great quarterback hair. Brock Glenn, the rare combo of a more common last name as your first name and a more common first name as your last name. How about that? Think about it.
I'll do a whole show about that. Can we come up with all of?
I was confused by the sentence.
Let's do. Well, he's just saying.
He's right, though.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
is right.
Yeah.
He's saying that Glenn would be something that you'd more likely expect as a first name, and Brock
Correct.
would be
Thank
more
you.
likely to be
You
expected
really are on
as
your
a
game
last
today.
name.
Yes. Also, a great name for an astronaut. Top 5 athletes who have a great astronaut name. OLI, Quinn Ewers.
Well, but Glenn, you're doing that only because Glenn was an astronaut.
Of course, yeah. Number 5, Terry Glenn.
That's not a.
Number 4, Jack Youngblood. Number 3, Brock Eward. That's good. Number 2, Sam Howell. And number 1, Neil O'Donnell. Captain O'Donnell.
Jessica, why are you shaking your head?
No women, so it tracks.
Sorry. Here come the Oilers. Biggest upset of the weekend was reading a story about J.J. Watt threatening John Rahm to sign a deal with Live Golf. J.J., the Donald Trump is strong in you. The second biggest upset was me reading.
That music didn't help you there on the timing.
Third biggest Washington, I think.
Yes, cheaters never prosper unless they live in Ann Arbor. Dan, you know what the W in Wolverine stands for? We cheated and no one cares.
It's unbelievable. It really is. You sneak in undefeated. FSU's, both their quarterbacks are broken in half physically, and Michigan cheated. And it's like, yeah, they belong. Number 1 seed.
The S in Sam Howell stands for sacrificial lamb.
For beating Ohio State, a team that ran the ball. Like, they have Marvin Harrison, so they're not Penn State running the ball 70 straight times. Congratulations on winning that conference by cheating. Everyone knows there's 7 teams in the SEC that would beat you.
No one cares. Got what we want.
We're going to play Alabama now. We'll show you.
Villanova lost to Drexel to finish 6th in a tournament called the Big Five. Hell is going on. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
I had something happen to me last week that allowed me to finally test how insulted I am that no one will take my cash anymore because they demand credit cards. And I'm like, hard-earned American cash that have value as currency everywhere in our world for as long as I'm alive. You will take my cash. Stop forcing me to give you a card. My cash has money.
I'll take it.
Not a big tap guy?
Here's what happened to me, and I want you guys to tell me whether or not I'm an asshole for doing this or I am just someone trying to be a freedom fighter on behalf of good old-fashioned American cash. I'm at a valet, and the valet, I'm holding $20 up at the valet, and the man says to me, "We do not take cash." And my question to him, and it was a genuine curiosity of a question, well, what happens if I don't have cards? Does it mean that you will not then take my cash? And I didn't even say, like, I was legitimately asking as a curiosity, but he took it as I don't have cards. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to follow this for a second. Now I'm going to say I don't have cards. I only have $20 cash. That I'm going to now entrench myself in this fight.
That would be a great bottom scroll on ESPN. Dan Le Batard gets into fight over cash card dispute.
No, but I'm legitimately asking you. I just wanted to see where it would go. Where do you guys think that ends up going now? Because I'm not doing it angrily. I'm just saying, what happens now? This cash is of value. Why won't you take it?
If I'm the valet guy, this is the easiest money I've ever made in my life, right? I take your cash. I never ring you up. I park you real up front. And then by the time that you're out, I just pay
He
$20.
wouldn't do that. No, but see, this is the thing. Because I was like, yeah, you could just have this. This is what it is anyways. It's $20. You could, why not take my cash? And he's like, no. And I'm assuming it's because he might get fired if they take cash and they have record keeping of having put a car away.
So you've completely manufactured this fight that you are now in.
But I'm not in a fight.
You're in a spirited debate at this point. Where does it go?
He's just seeing how it plays out.
It's not even.
It's
How
a
did it play
classic.
out?
It's a standoff.
How did it play out?
I'm going to tell you in a second, but how would you want it to play out? How do you think
He had to take the cash.
It should play out?
He
No.
punched the valet at Poppy Steak. Like, that's how it happened.
I would have
how it
slapped you in
played
the back of the head and said, "Get with the times, old man."
He didn't do any of these things, but I did, and I was late for something else. But at this point, I'm entrenched, and now I'm stubborn.
Right.
I'm
He's
waiting.
such a man.
I'm waiting for 15 minutes now.
Oh my God.
Yes, to see where this goes, because I legitimately want to see where this standoff goes, and where it goes is, you can go now.
Just pay for your coconut water with the card, man.
But he said I could go with my $20.
Like leave?
Yes, I didn't have to pay.
Did you?
Oh.
I gave it to the guy who brought my car around. I gave the $20 to the guy but I did leave without paying. He let me go because we were at a standoff, but my standoff won. I felt like an American hero on behalf of cash.
You are a hero.
You won,
I
Dan.
think it's ridiculous that places don't want to take cash anymore. Having a credit card is not like a thing that everyone has. Like, especially if you're, I think I've told this story before, but I was in a coffee shop when we worked at the Clevelander once, and there was a guy that came in and wanted coffee, and like he only had $2 and they wouldn't take his cash, and he had no credit card, and I was like, I'll just buy your coffee, man. Like, it's fine. But they were just turning business away because this guy didn't have access to credit cards. It was ridiculous.
But think about what happened to me. He turned away the $20 because he's afraid of getting fired. But also, like that could have been his, and it would have been fine, and it would have been totally fair if they'd asked him. It would have been what the charge was. So he could have just put it in a desk and told him he'd taken cash, but he was too afraid of getting fired to take the cash.
It's a little bit different situation for you, Dan, in your very fancy car. I'm sure he knew that you had an Amex Platinum somewhere buried in your
Here,
wallet.
play this guy like a fiddle. He's got no cash.
Wasn't
Yeah,
the
right.
same guy though? Wasn't one
Just
of the valets?
platinum?
It was just a guy behind. He was the guy with the worst valet job. The guy behind the desk.
It goes back to the people that need to take their job a little less seriously, meter maids, like people that park cars and stuff like that. Like, I got you, but also don't take it so serious. Like, you could take the $20, you can put my car away, like, we'll be good, I promise.
Take it serious unless it has to do with me.
You got to let Dan off the hook. It's a final segment of the show.
Give us your goddamn 4 teams.
Yep. 3 to go.
Okay, so
Wait.
I think
We have Washington in the 1 seed, and then the 2
Right.
seed is the winner of Oregon or of Georgia and Florida State.
Washington's your number 1? I know that they were in, but did you clarify that they were your number 1?
He did not,
I
no.
shouted excitedly that they were my number 1, but only I just had this conversation with Jessica off air because I'm saying to her, you want to help me with my Heisman vote? I've got my Heisman vote is due now, and she was actually making the argument. I'm like, I'm not sure whether to go stats or story because the best story, but this isn't merit based.
No. Jordan Travis is a Heisman winner now.
No.
So
After
like
the
the
last
MVP.
24 hours that we've all had, Jordan Travis is the Heisman winner.
The most important player in college football.
The guy that had
Yeah.
to send out a tweet, I wish I broke my leg earlier, considering that we've just changed potentially football history with this, give that kid the Heisman.
Do you think that Jordan Travis, while I believe everything he tweeted yesterday, do you think that there's any small part of him that has a little fist bump under the table?
Yes.
Like, look how important I am.
Yep.
I crumbled all of this.
Do you guys think that I should vote for that over Penix, who I've enjoyed throwing 25% of his passes are deep balls? Like that guy slings it. He made Indiana matter, and I just love his story. He's been so injured.
I love his story too. He's torn both ACLs. He did it at Indiana. Like he's an incredible story, an incredible player. But if I have to put any stock in what the College Football Playoff Committee just told me, there is no better nor more important player on the planet right now in college football than Jordan Travis.
I think you also look at the fact that Penix made his former head coach at Indiana $40 million in his buyout. I can't think of something more Heisman worthy than that. I mean, that is substantial. But Dan, if you want help with this, just give me your vote. I'll take care of it. When you see at the Heisman show that someone made a vote for Sam Hartman, maybe
Jesus.
you'll wonder who it was. But maybe everyone listening to the show, they'll know.
Dan's going to lose another vote.
No, but as a joke, should we then just make it Travis and make it number 1, and that'll be the 1 vote, and then then Penix loses by 1 vote, and the great story is my fault because I made a joke of the Heisman vote. That's got to be sacred.
They're not allowed to get mad at it. I've heard a lot of impassioned debates about how you have to keep them out because the quarterback's hurt. If that quarterback wins the Heisman, you shut your mouth.
I'm willing to do that, Jess. I'm willing to make a joke of the Heisman by voting that number 1 over Penix, whose story I
Sam
legitimately love. And Daniels, by the way, deserves it. Like
He does deserve it, but you only get 1 vote. Do you have to do it in
top
order
3.
here? Okay, top
Top
3.
3.
So you're just going to put Travis. That's it.
Well,
Hartman,
I'll put
Travis,
I'll put Travis number 1.
Van Dyke.
Penix.
Tyler Van
Dyke's
Dyke
third.
number 2. And who's number 3? Like, just make the whole thing a joke.
Who's Poppy voting for?
Well, my father gave his vote back.
You damn Lebatard's always doing that.
If you look at the odds, Jaden Daniels, last I looked at him 24 hours ago before Jordan Travis became the most important player in the nation, Jaden Daniels was the leader by a lot. He put up 1,000 of his yards against Army, Georgia State, and Grambling State. Every time you tuned in to watch Jaden Daniels play a big game, LSU would inevitably lose that game, and he wasn't the best player on that field. There have been 3 lost Heismans before. Lamar Jackson, Tim Tebow. When you watch their games, you knew that they would lose those games, but it wasn't because the quarterback was balling out. You can't have your Heisman moment at 2:45 in the afternoon on ESPN2. I'm sorry, not having it. Great player. Get out of here with that.
He is a great player, and LSU did have a very Brian Kelly-esque season and lost all of the games that really would have mattered and the games that to have a successful season and to even be considered for the Heisman, because like I'm not saying that the Heisman should be this way, but there are certain positions that you do not qualify for a Heisman if you play, and there are certain qualifications that your team has to meet for you to be in contention. And for whatever reason, it's because they lost 3 games. This has now become the debate, right? Jaden Daniels probably one of the best quarterbacks in college football, but you lost 3 games, and in the games that you won, you had to play all 4 quarters because your defense was letting everyone score on you.
He was bad against Alabama and Florida State. He was bad against them.
He was good against Alabama, but he got knocked out of the game.
He wasn't the best player on the field, and they do often say when you see someone on the path to a Heisman victory, oh, that's a Heisman moment right there. He hasn't had these Heisman moments, and that's not the distinction to win a Heisman. It hasn't always been that way, but he hasn't had a Heisman moment.
Mike,
seems like a de facto pick.
I'd go the other way on this. I would say he has had his Heisman moment, and the Heisman moment is this, because it's the cosmos laughing at us. The guy who's going to win the Heisman, FSU's not getting any credit for beating that football team because it's like FSU is not in this running because their SEC victory doesn't matter against the best player in college football. Like, that's the cosmos laughing at you. You guys want my 4 picks, and I just want to laugh at all that. Like, you guys want
It's an excellent point that I hadn't considered. They're going to just hand this Heisman over.
He's the best
to
player.
Jaden
Florida
Daniels.
State beat him. Doesn't mean anything.
No,
Florida
they were 5 at the time. That doesn't
it was
matter.
early in the season. It's when we all learned, Brian Kelly, fraud. LSU, fraud. Best player in the sport when he's not playing FSU, which strangled Louisville.
Teams.
3 to go.
They find a way to make a team's fraudy after FSU beats them. It's funny how that happens.
I want your 4.
It's a week of content for me to leak it out over 4 and then make the Heisman a joke.
I love Penix. I do. I think
He needs to lose by a vote.
It's a great story. I think, honestly,
Our vote.
people wanted Oregon to win the Pac-12 championship just to make it easy to vote for Bo Nix. Because Bo Nix had a crazy completion percentage, scored a ton of touchdowns, had a ton of yards.
In a couple years.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And it would have been an easier
How about
story.
Milroe? I mean, what are we doing
I
there?
love Milroe.
He's
Milroe,
so good. Yep.
I love this guy. Also, another great story. Sometimes he will throw a crazy pass, and you will say, wow, that was so off target.
Whoa.
And then sometimes he'll throw a dime, and he'll win the SEC championship.
Yeah.
And he'll run, and he'll just keep running.
Has a Heisman winner ever been benched?
It's great. The whole thing's great. And bench because he was bad against FSU, who dragged the best player in the sport. This is God laughing.
Benched because he was bad against Texas.
Right.
If Bama played FSU, it would have made everybody's life easier.
The idea that the best player in college football averaging a first down every time he touches the football.
Tell us the team.
No, I'm going to drag it out all week.
Come
I gave
on,
you Washington.
We gave you one today.
Michigan would be out. Michigan would not be in. Michigan, out.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Out. Cheaters, out.